Hi everyone, and welcome to another Doctor Who Series 6 Wave 2 figure review by me, Max Shorts. Now today I'm going to bring you a review of a figure which is not actually from Series 6, but one which is actually from Series 5. And as you can see, it is River Song in her outfit from the Series 5 finale, The Big Bang. Now I got this figure recently from a shop called Hooray. I ordered it online yesterday and got it in the post today. This is the first version of the Wave 2 River Song figure, which does not feature hair over the forehead. The second version, which was released in October last year, I believe, features some hair over the forehead, but these two variants are just pretty much the same, but obviously one has more hair than the other. This figure comes with 3 accessories, which are the gun accessory, the flesh mask, and also the flesh sachet. It's very similar to the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive River Song figure, which came with the Pandorica chair, but this particular variant of her does not feature the sheepskin jacket, nor the gloves, and also a different belt, I believe. Okay, so before we go into any more detail about this amazing figure, we're going to quickly take a look at the packaging she came in. Okay, so if we take a look at the front, we can see it is just as normal for Series 6 Wave 2 figure packaging. You've got the plastic bubble in the middle containing the figure and its accessories, along with pictures of the figure on the side showing it with its flesh accessories. Also got the card at the bottom showing the Doctor Who logo, the name of the figure, and also what series this one is from. Then if we take a look at the back, we can see all the other figures from Wave 2A of the Series 6 figure line, then the same usual product company information at the bottom. Okay, so that's it for the packaging, and now we're going to take a closer look at River Song from Series 5. Okay, so here we have River Song from Series 5, and now it's time to take a look at the detailed paintwork and sculpting of this awesome figure. Okay, so as usual, first of all we're going to start off by taking a look at the figure's head sculpt. Now, I think the head sculpt for this figure is absolutely brilliant. It's got a absolutely spot-on likeness of Alex Kingston. I have to say that, in my opinion, the head sculpt of this River Song figure has a much better and more accurate likeness of Alex Kingston than the 2008 River Song figure's head sculpt, as we can see here. I still think this one does have a good likeness of River Song, but it's just not quite as good as the Series 6 Wave 2 River Song figure, which was released quite a lot later than this one. We can see that there's quite a big difference in the skin tones of these two variants as well. If we take a look at this head sculpt up close, we can see that the facial features have been painted really nicely. She's also got this really nice cheeky smile on her face, which she actually has quite a lot in Doctor Who. I'm really glad that for this figure, Character Options or whoever made this figure decided to give this particular figure of River Song the cheeky smile, because it really does bring the figure to life and it just looks so much better this way. And I think if this figure had just a solemn facial expression, I probably wouldn't like it as much. If we take a look at her hair now, we can see that this is another great part of the figure. It's been sculpted really well, looks nice and curly like it always does. I think it's been painted with brown on one layer, then sort of more of a light brown over the top to make it look blonde. It works really well on this figure. I don't think this head sculpt needs any improvements whatsoever. It is just absolutely brilliant the way it is, and as I said before, the likeness of Alex Kingston on it is just absolutely incredible. Okay, so that's it for the head sculpt for now, and now we're going to start taking a look at her clothing. Okay, so as usual, we're going to start by taking a look at the clothing on the figure's torso. So if we take a look at it up close, we can see the white jacket which River Song wore in the Pandorica Opens and the Big Bang. It's got some really nice detail, like the texture of the collar just at the top here, the creases which can be found on the front, back, and also on the sleeves. We've also got some lines going underneath her hair and also on her sleeves. I think this is meant to be where various parts of the jacket have been put together. Also on the jacket we can see the brown belt which she wore in the Pandorica Opens and the Big Bang, which has been painted with a nice dark shade of brown. It looks very nicely detailed and accurate. It's got loads of buttons on it. You've got 3 sets of gold buttons which have been painted with really nice metallic paint, and then some sets of light blue buttons which go all the way around the rest of the belt. I don't think the jacket nor the belt need any improvements. They look absolutely brilliant the way they are. They are both really nicely detailed and really accurate. I think the sculpting of them is absolutely fine as well. By the way, the belt isn't a separate piece to the sculpt of the jacket. It has been painted on to the sculpt of the jacket. Okay, so that's it for the jacket for now. Really nice part of the figure, really nicely detailed and really nicely painted. And now we're going to take a look at her belt. So if we take a look at River Song's main belt now, we can see that this features two dark brown pockets which have been painted with a slight black wash, which gives them this nice old and dirty appearance. The belt also features two devices which River actually used in the Big Bang, which include the torch which she used to investigate Amy's house, and also the communication device which she used to talk to the Doctor quite late in the episode. I think it would have been good if these two devices came as separate accessories, but they are still really good on the belt and they have been both sculpted and painted really nicely. I have to say I do much prefer the belt on this particular River Song variant to the belt of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive River Song figure, which did not actually feature the same devices which are seen on this particular figure. If we take a look around the rest of the belt, we can see it is just brown really. It's not got any other special features. This figure also comes with a holster for the gun accessory, which the figure comes with. Just fits in very nicely like so. If we take a look at it up close, we can see that it's been painted with dark brown and also with a black wash going over the top, which makes it look very old and quite interesting at the same time. It's not a separate piece to the figure, you can't remove it or anything. Still a really great part of the figure. I think it's really good that it holds the gun very nicely, so if you don't want to have River Song posing with her gun, you can just put it in there like so. It fits in really well and it will probably stay in there really well. Even if you make the figure fall over, it doesn't fall out, as you can see, so that's quite a good and useful part of the figure. Now, the trousers of this River Song variant are exactly the same as those on the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive River variant. They've been painted with a fairly dark grey colour with two black stripes on each side. I really like the fact that these black stripes are featured on the figure. I never actually noticed them on the figure until I got them today, and I noticed that these were actually on the trousers River Song wore in the Big Bang, so I really like the fact that they are on the figure. If we take a look at them from the back, we can see some nice creases and also a few on the sides as well. I don't think the trousers need any improvements, they look just fine the way they are. So if we take a look at her boots now, we can see that they are a very similar shade of brown to the holster and also the belt. They've been painted with a fairly dark brown colour with black wash going on top, making them look a bit old and dirty. They look just like how they did in the episode. You've got some nice creases where her feet come into place and also the detail of the laces, I believe. So that's pretty much all the basic detail of the 2011 River Song figure from Wave 2 of the Series 6 figure line. I think the detail on this figure is absolutely brilliant. It has all the detail that it needs to be a great, accurate figure of River Song as we saw her in the Big Bang. I think the sculpting of this figure is absolutely fantastic. The head sculpt looks absolutely brilliant. It's got a great likeness to Alex Kingston, as I said before. The clothes have been sculpted really nicely and they have some great detail. The paintwork is also really nice. I don't think it needs any improvements whatsoever. Now we're going to take a look at River Song's articulation. Okay, articulation. Her head can do a full 360 degree turn. Her arms can do a 360 degree turn for the shoulders, and because they are ball jointed, they can also move out from the shoulders, meaning you can put her in some really good regenerating or battling poses, especially with her gun accessory. The arms can also turn 360 degrees at the biceps, bend up at the elbows, and the hands can also do a 360 degree turn. Lower body articulation now. She can turn at the waist 360 degrees. Well, actually not quite, because of the things on her belt which do actually get in the way. By the way, if you do turn her from the waist, the belt will go with her. I've actually just noticed that, so I probably won't do that much again on this particular figure. The legs can also bend out from the top, move backwards and forwards on the top, bend at the knees, and the boots can do a 360 degree turn as well. So that's all the articulation of this particular River Song figure. It has all the same articulation as the San Diego Comic Con exclusive River Song figure, so if you got that figure and you're planning on getting this, you can expect the same great articulation. So now it's time for me to give a summary of my thoughts on this figure. So overall, I think River Song from Wave 2 of the Series 6 figure line is a superb addition to my Doctor Who figure collection. I think this is by far my favourite figure from Wave 2. I was really happy to see this figure in the Series 5 and 6 figure line when I first saw pictures of it back in August or September last year, and now I finally have her in my collection. I think she is a really good figure and she'll go nicely with all my figures from the Pandorica wave and also some of the other characters from Series 5 and 6. The sculpting of this figure is really good, especially for the head sculpt, which has a really good likeness of Alex Kingston, better than that of the 2008 River Song figure, as I said before, in my opinion. The clothes have also been sculpted very nicely, and all the other little features on this figure have also been sculpted really nicely. The paintwork is also absolutely brilliant, especially for the hair, the facial features, and all the little parts of the clothing. As I said before, I think the articulation is just fine the way it is. She has enough joints for her to be a really nicely articulated figure that you can put in many poses just by herself and also with her accessories. So if I was to give this particular River Song variant a rating out of 10, I'd say I'd quite happily give her a 10 out of 10. She is a really good addition to my Doctor Who figure collection. She has so many things that are good about her, like the paintwork, the sculpting and the articulation, and this is a figure that I'd recommend to just about any fan of the new series of Doctor Who, or anyone that is just a fan of Alex Kingston or River Song. Okay, so that is pretty much it for the River Song figure, but this review is not over yet because now we're going to take a look at her accessories, starting with her gun accessory. Okay, so here we have River's gun from the Big Bang and also Day of the Moon, I believe. If we take a look at it up close, we can see there is a really nicely detailed accessory. We can see the bumpy part where her fingers go over, the hole where the trigger is, the black feature on the top, and also the two holes at the end where the lasers come out. It looks exactly like it did in the Big Bang and also Day of the Moon. It just looks absolutely fantastic the way it is, even though it's only grey and black. It has also got quite a bumpy texture to it. I only actually just noticed that when I first got it out of the box. I don't know why it has a bumpy texture to it, but it does feel quite a lot like the Underhenge Stone, Cyberman, Roman and Dalek figures from the Series 5 figure line, which are sort of flat in some places but bumpy in others. I'm not sure why the gun has a bumpy texture, but it does make it a bit more interesting. The gun does also fit in River Song's right hand very nicely. It did take me maybe a couple of minutes or more to get it into her right hand when I recently got this figure, but after all it did stay in the hand very well, and I don't think it's actually fallen out of her hand ever since I first got it out of the packaging. So if I was to give the gun accessory of the River Song figure a rating out of 5, I'd say I'd give it a 5 out of 5. It's a really nicely detailed accessory with some great paintwork, and it is very good for doing scene recreations of the Big Bang and also Day of the Moon. Okay, so that's it for our gun accessory, and now we're going to start taking a look at her flesh accessories. So if we start off by taking a look at the flesh mask, we can see that it fits onto River Song's face really nicely. I can't really tell whether it has got a good likeness of Alex Kingston or not, because I can't really see it too well because none of the features on it are painted, but it still is a nice accessory. It's been sculpted really well, and I really like the fact that it fits onto River Song's face really well, because with quite a few of the other figures from this wave I've had a bit of trouble getting the flesh masks onto the figures' faces, and quite a lot of them have fallen off when I've been like taking the figure around to various places, whereas when I take this figure around with the flesh mask on, the flesh mask seems to stay on pretty well. I think the gap in the hair is just about small enough to hold the flesh mask in securely, and that is a good part of the figure. So if I was to give the flesh mask of the River Song figure a rating out of 5, I'll give it a 5 out of 5. Nice little accessory, fits onto her face very well and very useful for your own figure adventures. Okay, so here we have the flesh sachet of the River Song figure, which is exactly the same as all the other flesh sachets we get with Wave 2 of the Series 6 figure line. It's a good accessory. It's very good for scene recreations of the rubber flesh and the Almost People, and also very good for our own Doctor Who figure adventures and animations. The only thing I'd say that could be improved about it is the material, because when I got some of the flesh out of one of the packets recently, I realised that it was made from quite a unusual material, and when I was trying to put it back into the packet, I had quite a lot of trouble doing it because it just kept on staying and sticking to my hands. If I was to give the flesh sachet a rating out of 5, I'd say give it a 4 out of 5. Good accessory, but I just think it could have been made out of a better material. And that is pretty much it for my review of River Song from Wave 2 of the Series 6 figure line. Once again, I think this River Song variant is a great addition to my collection, and I'd recommend it to any fan of Doctor Who out there at the moment, and also anyone that is a fan of Alex Kingston and the character of River Song. If I have any more comments about this figure and its accessories, I shall put them up in YouTube video annotations or perhaps in the comment section below. If you'd like to share your comments on the figure and its accessories also, please feel free to do so in the comment section below, or maybe in the video response you'd like to make. Thanks for watching this review, YouTubers.